And that's leading to consolidation. I think we all know what that's, it's the market forces driving consolidation, driving disruption, driving an increased focus on ROI. The private equity guys we talked about a little bit ago are bringing in what's known as zero-based budgeting. And I think we're all experiencing that, where our members are resetting every year. And that has an impact on us. We also hear from our members consistently about a lack of time and a lack of calendar availability, which magnifies the budget challenges as well. So we started thinking differently about how we can create better value, how we can serve our members. And again, through our partnership with Connect Me Communications, with Mark and Ann, we found what we believe is a relevant platform for our members. It's a technology-based solution that enables us to attack a couple of challenges. Number one is time, and number two is money. And we have another piece that we believe this technology of virtual meetings can help us solve, and that is the challenge of the calendar. We have 2 annual conferences. We deal with retailers and wholesalers that review specific categories. Maybe it's the baby category, maybe it's the pet category, maybe it's the kitchen gadgets category. They review them once or twice a year. Our conferences are off cycle to those reviews, and it's hard for us to make an impact for our members when our merchants are planning out the categories. This helps us solve for that. We're going to show you a video here, and then I'm going to introduce a couple of voices from the industry, starting with Rick Cicero, who's the Senior Director of Merchandising for C&S Wholesale Grocers. She's going to join us here shortly. And also Jennifer Shea, who's the National Sales Manager for Honey Stinger, as the voice of the supplier side of our community. They'll talk a little bit about their experience with what we call our B2B video exchange platform. And as evidence of the impact we're making with our members, we started this last fall with a pilot event. We've now deployed it this year with multiple category events on specific days. And we're attracting interest not only from our members, but also from prospects. Mark was down in Northwest Arkansas about 2 weeks ago, and folks down there are profoundly interested in the potential of this platform to help drive costs out, to help the suppliers manage the cost of having to fly to Bentonville for a 20-minute meeting with a merchant. Perhaps there's a better way. So, Ann, I'll ask you to make the video, and then we're going to bring in Rick and Jennifer.
Right.
This is Scott, a buyer for a major retail chain, and this is Nicole, his vendor representative. They know that their ever-changing industry requires them to hold frequent meetings to review products and programs, discuss market strategies, and category insights, and more. Sometimes holding these meetings at the right time, especially during peak category review periods, is difficult to coordinate. To meet these deadlines and seasonal opportunities, they must travel for long distances, which is time-consuming and expensive. Scott and Nicole used to attend trade shows, but they didn't deliver targeted one-on-one meetings, and it was difficult to get through the crowds. Today, Scott and Nicole know there's a better way. They use GMDC Connect video business-to-business exchanges, which feature rescheduled one-on-one video meetings. These events are timed perfectly with merchandising schedules, seasonal buying, and include category insights and best practices. Their Connect Me platform is simple and easy to join. It also gives them the ability to learn about upcoming events, each other, product innovations, and much more. With just a click of a button, there are events scheduled across multiple product categories, enabling retailers to optimize and plan their entire store. That's why many businesses have already been using the GMDC Connect Me B2B platform. No travel, no hotel costs, no time away from the office, and more product discovery all in one place.
Right now, I'd like to introduce Rick Cicero, who's the Senior Director of Merchandising for C&S Wholesale Grocers. Rick is joining us via video today from his office. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, industry colleagues. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you and giving me the opportunity to share my insights on the B2B platform. Hopefully everybody hears me all right.
We can hear you great, Rick.
Great. My team and I have had the pleasure of utilizing the platform on many occasions, and we find the application to be effective, very easy to use, safe and secure, and very impactful to the business. We believe it is the wave of the future, and on the cutting edge of business applications, and we use many. I think it will be essential in how business will be conducted in the future, and in many cases, how business is being done today. We appreciate the opportunity GMDC offers its members and enhances the value of the organization. I believe it is realized in both the vendor partners, as Jennifer will speak in a few minutes, and also retail and wholesale partners like myself and many of our retail customers. We find that the platform has many benefits and deliverables. It offers an ability to initiate contact without expense and waste of time. We find it effective for new vendors and new items. It really gives us a real quick ability to recognize a follow-up is needed. Within minutes, you can really tell if a vendor is going to be a partner with you, or it fits your organization or your customers' needs. So it's a very quick assessment. It allows you to not have additional expense added for our vendor partners that, for something that may not fit our organization. So it's a real good, easy way for us to assess and really set expectations. So it's a great avenue for that. We also can involve associates and colleagues from multiple departments and locations within our organization. We span from Hawaii to Florida to Maine and Texas. So we have a real global need for having multiple locations in certain meetings. We have used this to tie in logistic managers and marketing managers of our vendor partners while our sales team was here doing business review, and we would tie them in certain segments of our meeting and allow them only during that period. So that limited the vendor's expenses, and it also allowed us to utilize the time effectively. The system is very versatile. We use it up for follow-up meetings, business reviews, logistics meetings, new item launches, as spoke earlier, and even strategy meetings within our organization with executives from different locations. Again, I think the platform is an extremely effective tool. It's easy. As you can see, we're connected very quickly. And it's most importantly, I think it's fun to use. All of our associates are engaged in it and really have a good time understanding and really seeing people face to face.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce Jennifer Shea, the National Sales Manager for Honey Stinger Products, and she represents the supplier side of our membership and will speak to her perspective on the platform as well.
Good morning and greetings from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. For some of you who may not be familiar with Steamboat Springs, we're about 4 hours away from the closest international airport, which makes traveling very complicated and time-consuming. Have I mentioned that there's also 2 to 3 mountain passes and various variable conditions along the way that really make travel for our sales reps and our team not only time-consuming but very expensive. This allowed us to really, frankly, get to the point. We're finding more and more at trade shows, our buyers are not accepting meetings. They are simply walking the floor, looking for new items. And if you're not already on their radar, they may not have time to come and meet with you. This allowed us to not only have all of our sales reps available, East Coast to West, international, in all channels, available quickly within 15 to 20 minute increments to have a conversation with the stakeholders directly. It allowed us to talk quickly about not only the brand, new items, launch plans, but also provided us with a really clean venue to quickly nail out some of the details for launch plans, for regular schedules, and we've implemented display programs within the store with the buyers through these conferences. So it's really allowed us to look at it from a very strategic perspective, especially as a small emerging brand. We make honey-based energy foods primarily for sports nutrition and snacking, but this does not make us one of the largest CPG companies to get out there. So while we're already spending tens of thousands of dollars attending industry trade shows and tabletops, these have been a very effective method for us both to meet new buyers in their category in a very pointed manner of the people around the table who really want to talk about what is important for them and their assortments and things like that at a time that's convenient for them. So we've had the chance to participate in 2 events now. And as Rick mentioned, I was able to get involved many more team members than I otherwise would have been able to take to all of these trade shows because of time and cost away from the office. So it's been a very effective tool for us to utilize. We've been able to share the screen and give a presentation of our brand overview, share display options, some best practices, and really provide some things in a very focused manner. The follow-up has been very easy. The communication is very streamlined, and we look forward to continuing to utilize this tool.
Fantastic, Jennifer. We appreciate your time today. And Rick, thank you very much as well. We appreciate your comments and your observations.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Patrick.
So probably Jennifer will drop off. Jennifer, you need to head off, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. So
Thanks, Jennifer.
So she's going to drop off.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious if she's completely written off trade shows from her outreach, or if that's still a part of what they do.
Did you hear the question, Jennifer?
I did, and that's a wonderful question. I don't know if you saw the Washington Post article last week, and there's been a few food industry articles along those lines on whether trade shows are dead. I don't think so by any stretch of the imagination. We have made contact with many key buyers that we didn't realize we could possibly, frankly, be on their radar screen. But we are seeing that these shows are becoming so large, it's nearly impossible for buyers, for their category, to get through the show and not only meet with the vendors they're already working with to see what's new, but also to source new suppliers. And frankly, to have meaningful conversations in these venues when you're at a tabletop and it's surrounded by other people, and you're trying to not only share what makes you so unique and different, but also deal with the other 10 people crowding around you wanting to hear the same answers. So we are certainly not cutting back our trade show participation, but we're tempering our expectations. When we started attending some of those larger shows, we'd come back and actually turn those businesses, those cards exchanged, into actual business. At this point, it's more a great launch platform, but we rarely see our buyers at the booth. And when they do, they've got their badge flipped over, they're stopping by for a quick flyby. There's not a chance for meaningful conversations at these events. So we're not discontinuing, but we are looking strategically as we go ahead and look at between, drayage fees and everything else, booth fees, what it takes for us to attend some of those events versus a platform like this where we can quickly get to the point and meet the actual stakeholders who are going to make the decisions to bring our products to their shelves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think now we're going to be demonstrating some functionality.
Right, the actual platform. So what I'm going to do now is I'm using the technology itself. So essentially what we've set up, and let me just go back. I'll share my screen here. So now I'm actually sharing my screen with them as well as with you. So let's go to my PowerPoint here. Hang on a second. Where are we? I'm like losing myself. Here we go. So we were at the GMDC website originally. We were looking at the various different events that they have scheduled coming up. So for example, a baby and infant products events in August, a kitchen essentials event in September, a beauty and personal care. So these are all category specific events where the retailers who are participating are committing to have the relevant buyer participating. And so naturally, all the suppliers are going to be just in that particular field. And what they will do on the day of the event is they will log into, this is the platform for the event. As you can see, the next event coming up is the baby one, so that's always going to show up. I'm going to log in as if I were one of the suppliers, a company called Penn Herb. They make, we had an event for natural organic health and wellness products, and they make natural organic cough and cold sort of things. So I log into the platform, and the first thing I will see is the event that they're next participating in, which in this case was the June 21st Natural Organic event. I click through to that event, and I will find out some information about the event. I'm going to go ahead and full screen this guy now. So we can find out a little bit of information about the event. You see that it is an event for the Natural Organic event. The times of the event are always going to be listed in the time zone of the person who is taking part. In this case, Penn Herb happens to be on the East Coast, so it was a 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. event. The events are actually always scheduled for 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. We chose Central Time for the very obvious reason that we're dealing from the East to the West Coast, so we were looking for the middle of the country, something that worked more or less for everybody. You know, it's an online, the most important thing people are going to want to know about probably is who's participating. These suppliers who are the paying customers, whereas the retailers are complimentary in the same way that quite frequently for physical events, you know, you'll fly them down for events. In this case, they participate on a complimentary basis. You can find out who they are, who the companies are, and there's always going to be a nice big logo, a bit of contact information, you know, how to reach them, what they do, and rather most importantly to the people who are participating, who is the actual person from the company who will be participating. And that person is always going to be a category buyer for that particular category. So for the natural organic event, for example, in the case of Super Value, she's the beauty care buyer. And that's an interesting point. Like in the case of the natural organic event, certain retailers consider natural organic to be, you know, everything organic. So that whether it's organic cleaning or organic beauty care, and some retailers have it, you know, all beauty care products, whether they're organic or non-organic. The point being that whoever is participating is going to be the buyer for that category. So in this case, it was Dana Wills from Super Value. Likewise, just as the, yeah.
So explain again, who's presenting, who's the company, who's she buying from?
So she'd be buying from category suppliers who would sign up to participate in the event. And where you see the logos for Super Value and Topco and any number of our retailer or wholesaler members within our ecosystem, we will have targeted suppliers in specific categories, in this case, natural, organic, health, and wellness, who will want to meet with the retailer or wholesaler merchants who buy those categories. It's a category-specific event on a specific date.
So the attending companies would be the supplier companies. So in this case, Honey Stinger was one, Olbus was one, Zarbee's was one. And just as the suppliers can read about the retailers, likewise the retailers can, you know, do a little bit of reading up in advance on the company. So Honey Stinger, for example, was a participant. You know, you have the contact information, you have the information on the actual person from the company who's going to be attending, and then you also have digital assets that you can upload to the platform profile. And when I say digital asset, a digital asset is anything that is a file. It is a JPEG, it can be a video file, it can be a PDF file. So in this case, for example, Honey Stinger was promoting their Blueberry Buzz energy bar. So you click through to the photo of that, and it's going to take you through the internet's a bit slow here. Here we go. It's going to take you through to a specific page on their website, which, as you notice, we have not left the platform here. So we're basically playing their website inside the platform here. Additional, here, for example, they had a nutritional information PDF. So again, the PDF is playing here in the platform. So we haven't left the platform, but they are able to basically upload information in advance. You could even have a video playing here. I mean, this is a YouTube video on organic waffles.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I'm here to...
So the point here is that everything we're doing is within the platform. I do always point out to people that anything that they upload to the platform here, the profile information, think of it as a mini website for your participation in the event or a souped up directory listing. But of course, anything that's on the platform here is going to be visible to anybody who has access to the platform. It is a login, but you know, anybody, I mean, in this case, not only Honey Stinger's customers, but also in theory their competitors. So think of it as a website. It's the public information you're going to share, you know, in the catalog for the event. However, people often say to me at this point when I'm doing my little training bit, well, what if we have, you know, a PowerPoint presentation or Excel spreadsheet of, you know, projections that we don't want to share publicly? The answer is that's when you use the screen share feature, just as I'm doing. And we'll sort of get to that as, once I finish here, we're going to actually be on the video meeting. So you've uploaded all the information to the event. I always encourage people to take some time before the event to read up about the companies they're going to be meeting with, because the meetings are 20-minute meetings scheduled on the hour and the half hour. We have a 10-minute break each time. So throughout the day, you can basically have 16 meetings, because it's 8 hours a day, half-hour segments essentially. But you don't want to be wasting, 7 of those 20 minutes introducing yourselves to each other. So basically, do a little bit of homework, do your reading here, use the platform for that purpose. On the day of the event, however, it's actually a bit simpler. If we go to the Info tab, that basically has the agenda for the day. We kick off with a welcome presentation from usually Patrick, but someone from GMDC sort of acting as the host. Welcome, a little bit of sort of background information, housekeeping for the day. And then we jump into a 20 to 25 minute category insight presentation. And this is a facts and figures with charts and, and slideshow from a third-party analyst. We often work with RetailNet Group or Nielsen, someone like that. And this is something that's very interesting for all of the participants, both the buyers and the sellers, because it's very specific category information for that event. It also acts as a very nice kickoff for the conversation between the buyer and seller. They can start off by saying, so did you see Mike Ragoza's presentation this morning? Didn't he have some interesting things to say about the baby category or whatever the category is of the event? And then they can jump into the real meat of the day, which is these pre-arranged meetings.
Yeah, and I think the idea there is let's have some objective insights on the front end that sets the table for the meetings for the day, so that both buyers and sellers, merchants and manufacturers are hearing objective information. Could be Nielsen, could be R&G. Let's talk about a subsegment of the natural and organic health and wellness category. This segment is over-indexing and growing at a faster pace than this section of the business. And it enables everybody to focus on where the opportunities might reside within a given category. Okay, in that, to make that day even more productive, let's use insights to deliver, or to set the table, if you will.
Right, and we often we play these. They play live at first thing in the morning, basically, and then they're available as an archive video throughout the day, so people can sort of refer back to them if they need to. But then, as we say, we jump to the My Meetings. So you click on this My Meetings tab, and you arrive. And I actually, because this event is over, I have to show you a screenshot of this. Hold on, I gotta go to here. Here it is. I gotta show you that. Okay, so if I were logged in as Penn Herb, I'm Karen from Penn Herb. You'll see that at 11 a.m. Eastern time, because she's located on the East Coast, she had a meeting with Associated Food Stores. At 11:30, she had a meeting with Cardinal Health. At 12 o'clock, she had a meeting with CNS Wholesale Grocers. So there's this little calendar icon. If you click that, that's basically an add to calendar. That would allow her to add that specific video meeting to her schedule. I usually tell people, why don't you just block out your whole day? Because you got 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Just make a note that to attend the meeting, you just click this button. And this button is a link to the video meeting room for Mindy Rich. So just as right here, we are in a video meeting, and here I'm going to go back to, I'm going to stop share, and you'll see that I am in a video meeting with my colleague Matthew, who's in Colorado. He was in the same office. That's where Jennifer was, in that office before. You notice the backdrop has changed, by the way, and we'll sort of go into that. So he's basically sitting in Colorado. Mark, who looks like he's in Denver, is upstairs. He's on the 6th floor. He's in a hotel room. So basically, I was in here. I'm going to go back to my screen share here. I was in this platform. I clicked the button to join the video meeting, and me, Karen Page, suddenly I'm in a video meeting room with Mindy Rich. I'm in a completely private, separate video meeting. Now, our team, the Connect Me team, we do actually jump in right at the very beginning just to make sure that there's no technical issues. It's kind of, think about us in a function room. We're sticking our head in the door, making sure everybody's okay, and then we wave, we say goodbye. You see us leave. We're no longer one of the three little thumbnails here. And then you have a completely private video meeting. We do not record that meeting. You, as the participants, have the ability and the right to record the meetings. But at that point, you're in a completely separate meeting. And, you have your 20 minutes, and how you use those 20 minutes is entirely up to you. You may start off by, having a PowerPoint share, just as I'm sharing my desktop. Karen from Olbus or Jennifer from Honey Stinger, probably kicked off with a 10-minute presentation of some sort, depending on what the product is and how you've set up your room.
And I think too, let's be clear. So in this case, Karen's meeting is going on. If we had 16 suppliers and 16 retailers or wholesalers, there's 16 simultaneous meetings occurring in 16 separate private video rooms that can be archived by 16 or 32 different companies if both sides wanted to record their session. This all happens simultaneously. So, if we started this at 9:30, we could go from 9:30 to 10 o'clock and there'd be 16 meetings going on simultaneous on this platform all at once. So over the course of a day, you're hosting multiple events from multiple companies, all of it being done simultaneously.
Exactly.
And both parties in a meeting have to consent before one side can record.
Yeah, well, not so much consent, but there's actually a button that shows that the meeting is being recorded, so they're aware of it. I mean, obviously, just as a matter of politeness, you should always ask. You should always tell people you're recording. But even if you didn't, there's a red button, and that's a legal issue. That basically says this meeting is being recorded.
Are the participants kind of responsible for keeping track of the time, or is there a built-in way for them to?
For the most part, yes. I mean, we don't cut them off. Part of the reason we build the 10-minute break-in at the end is so in case they need to go a few minutes late, they have a little wiggle room. They also have time to run to the restroom and get a cup of coffee, because otherwise you're sitting in front of your screen for 8 hours nonstop. Typically speaking, I've had people ask me that question. Is that going to be a problem? And the answer is no, because you're going to have another meeting too. Like you've got one that you've got to leave this meeting because you've got another meeting to get to in 5 minutes. So you have your 20-minute meeting. It's interesting the way you set up your room. I'm going to stop share again. So for example, you'll see the 3 different cameras here. So this camera here, is the wide angle camera that's showing this whole room that we're in. Both Mark and Matthew have a small $65 Amazon camera that you can get on Amazon that just sits on the top of your computer. There's a backdrop technology which we'll show you. But you could also, we've had people set up the camera in their conference room, for example. And one company, we were doing an event on cleaning supplies and cleaning gadgetry, and they have the kind of mop that you can twist and it doesn't get your hands dirty. So they were demonstrating it right there, because they had it in their conference room and they were showing it. A lot of people will set up their conference room with a planogram behind them, and they'll use it as an example. So there's a lot of flexibility, things that you might not be able to do if you're traveling, if you're walking a trade show floor so then you have your meeting, you're finished with your meeting, you say goodbye, and you jump back to your schedule.
While you do that, let me be clear on one point. This is intended to be complementary and to augment our existing platform. We do 2 conferences a year. Many of you are in the booth show segment as well. The idea is not to replace, but to complement. I'm not trying to cannibalize my own revenue model. That's not the intent. The intent, though, is to enable our members to do business 365 days a year when we only have 10 days of conferences per year. So how do we fill in the rest? How do we enable them to come together and do business at the times that are appropriate for our merchants? So I want to be real clear about that. This is not intended, while we talk about the trade show challenge in our video, it's not intended to attack trade shows or even to attack our own conference model, but rather to complement.
How do you avoid that? There's a certain element of that.
And, I think the market decides. And ultimately the market and our members are going to decide. But I can't not do something out of fear of cannibalization, because then that's the one thing that says to me is I'm certainly going to get cannibalized by somebody else.
Do you have to support the trade show to get access to this platform?
No. You don't have to be a member. If you're not a member, you're going to pay more. Okay. But it's open to the ecosystem.
So is it a per meeting fee the vendor pays, or a flat rate for the day?
Flat rate for the day.
How's the scheduling done?
We have a software. This platform has a scheduling tool built into it. So that's part of the service that we're providing. Basically, is building the schedule of meetings for everybody.
And that's, in Mark, in many ways, that's the secret sauce: the ability to run simultaneous meetings and to coordinate the schedule.
So somebody wants a meeting, so they make a request, or they rank order the companies that have signed up to the event.
In the case of the events, everybody meets everybody, with few exceptions.
So if you're a buyer and you don't want to meet with XYZ, you don't have a choice. You have to meet with XYZ.
With few exceptions. I mean, we can, if we have a really strategic merchant that we do not want to alienate with the platform, we'll find a way to work it out. But it's that part of it, it can be challenging, but it's no different than our conference model. Because we do speed dating, and if a merchant says, I don't want to meet with the supplier, or conversely, if we have somebody who's, a wholesaler, but is really a closeout company, we'll have suppliers that say, no, not going to meet with them. So we find a diplomatic way to separate the two.
We do definitely tell the suppliers they're welcome to say, no, thank you, but we do ask the retailers as much as possible to commit to making a full day's worth.
I want to be mindful of the time. I don't know if there's some more features and functionality you guys want to demonstrate, because I know it sounds like we got some questions, but I want to.
Okay, so basically this is the video meeting. Now, Mark and Matthew are, as I say, Matthew's in Colorado, and ironically, Mark, who has the Denver background behind him, is actually just upstairs. This is the video meeting tool. So Mark, do you want to take over and just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. And when I finished up with this, perhaps you would like to show the ad hoc meeting capabilities. So yeah, I was just down in the meeting room a couple of minutes ago. I'm now, I made a rapid escape to our office in Denver, where maybe I want to transform myself into an executive from NAW and run some events. So all I do now is I'm in my hotel room now. I could be Dirk introducing an event. He's on the road. He could do this directly from any hotel room. I'm not on any particular bandwidth here. I'm just on hotel Wi-Fi. Rich, Win Supply, here you could be introducing, or one of your SVPs introducing a American Standard event from wherever they were. Could be from your offices, could be from a hotel room. Ron, we could do $1 billion roundtable meeting. Again, you could have executives all over the world. Wouldn't matter where their location. Again, this can be done straight from a hotel room. Jim McGarry, Ed Market, same thing here. As Patrick mentioned, I've been up in Bentonville recently. So if Walmart come on and work with us, which is looking very likely, they'll be able to run their own events. And one last example here, which I like particularly, is a product display from L'Oreal. So now you could literally be, taking product off shelf. Again, it doesn't matter where I'm located. If for $100, you can basically you can enable this capabilities on a permanent basis within your offices. So that's just a few examples, but obviously huge possibilities to create customized branded experiences for any type of event. Thank you.
So Mark said let me just quickly show you as well. Move this out of the way. There we go. Share my screen. So let's say we had our meetings. We participated in the baby care event or what have you, and you wanted to follow up with me. So you could search for me either by name or by company. You could find me on the platform, and there I am. You could click through to my personal profile, and in addition to my contact information, I have here this little widget. And this widget allows me to request a meeting. So let's say I want to have a follow-up meeting next week, for 30 minutes at 12:30. Hey, Ann, great meeting we had. Would love to have a quick follow-up. I hit send, and this sends a meeting request to the two of us. So we have a video meeting link, so we can have an ad hoc video follow-up, which is not scheduled by us. So on the day of the event, when I go to the My Meetings tab, all of those meetings are pre-scheduled by our team. That's, as you say, one of the things we do. But the follow-up meeting, the ad hoc follow-up meeting, can be entirely on your own schedule for a minimum of up to 3 months. And between you and me, we actually keep it open pretty much, for about 6 months or so.
Very good. We're going to let me ask one final question before we break to the discussion rounds. What has been the biggest success you've experienced to date, and what has been the biggest barrier?
I would say the successes have been, first of all, it's quite funny because I'm the technology person as opposed to the content person. So I've always been delighted when we do a follow-up with everybody and we ask, we ask them what they thought, and they start talking immediately about how rich the meeting was. and how simple it was, and how they, you know, and we've actually had people say, when are you doing the next one? And we're like, why? They're like, because I got a contract from the last one. So obviously they're very happy. And then I always say at some point, you know, so what about the technology? And they're like, oh yeah, it was fine. Like it's just not even an issue, which, you know, as a technology person, that is what I want to hear, you know. Now, challenges?
Yeah, I think the challenge is concisely articulating the opportunity, because it's different. And it requires a different way of thinking, you know, and this idea of disruption and cannibalization, both within our industry, but within our own models, and how we succinctly describe why this matters. That's been one of the hardest things.
Okay. And we didn't touch on fees. Can you just touch on the fees and how it's structured real quick before we break?
Sure, and the fees are completely arbitrary. I mean, this is you know, every industry is probably different. But the best way to think about it is, for ease of math, let's say there's 10 meetings. If you're a supplier, you're going to pay, as a member of GMDC, $3,750 for the platform for the day. And if you come out of that day with 10 meetings, that's $375 per meeting. I would argue that you cannot buy a plane ticket, a hotel room, and a rental car to see any one of our merchants for $375 all in. If I could have 10 meetings in one day for $3,750, and I could bring in my director, my VP of Ops, my director of Consumer Insights, they could be out at multiple plants, and I can bring them all into the meeting via video. So that's, you know, let's say I had 5 people from my team in the meeting with Walgreens for $375 for that meeting. Yeah, that's pretty good economic value for me.
So generally speaking, you pay once.
For that event, for that day.
For that day.
You pay $3,700 and as many meetings as you can get is
in that day. And then we'll do another event a week later in a different category with a different group of suppliers. The retailers and wholesalers contribute their time.
So give or take $300 or $400. 2 quick questions and we got to go to discussions.
Is there anything specifically enhancing the technology of this over other video conferencing platforms?
Yes. Yes. So this platform.
Can I ask to hold that question, because I think that's going to be a question for Q&A. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but just anything that clarifies how this is working right now.
And legally, you can have 2 vendors communicate, or is there a mechanism that only allows a buyer and
Oh, I mean, technology. I mean, and are you saying if you wanted to have the platform be to have 2 vendors meet each other as opposed to having buyers and sellers?
Collusion.
Oh,
how do we avoid collusion?
Okay.
Yeah, I think from the standpoint, Ralph, of how we do the platform, every meeting is set up as the supplier side and the retailer side, or the wholesaler side. So there is not the opportunity for, because of the link and the way that the coding is, it's not going to happen.
Very good. So we're going to go to discussion rounds for about the next 20 minutes. We're going to do the same idea as before, table captains. I'm going to ask that each table, just a little bit of a wrinkle, identify an A question. We'll go through all A questions and then your B questions. So your 2 major questions, prioritize, and we'll hit all the A's first and the B's second. So about 20 minutes. Thank you.
The fact that there are that many ones, the fact that we're using different platforms, we touch the nerve.
As when we still keep this up here for the time being?
I think until they finish that switch back over.
Very good. So it looked good from his end too. He said, yeah, she did really look good from his end. So that's interesting. Yes, the large screen. I'm going to ask him for a second.
During the Q&A, let's reinforce the deeper on the secret sauce, scaffolding nature, the ongoing nature of the follow-up. Because, like Dirk just said, is okay, how do you have a Skype meeting or a webinar? So,
Yeah.
multiple meetings simultaneously, so you need a platform that's scaffolding follow-up contacts, so you need to build information unique and uses our advantages.
Yeah, well, the answer is anybody can put together a Skype meeting, but you go and you get on an airplane and you get on a meeting.
It looks easy. It looks simple. That's not.
It's guaranteed experience. They're not having to organize
Because you'll have a really creative
so you might want to get sure also the ability to follow up, carrying the schedule.
Right.
Yeah, just talk about that. To your point, the whole experience, right? That's the secret sauce. It's the back end coding that enables the multiple simultaneous meetings, that enables the follow-up and the calendar request, that enables the video to be embedded in and the digital assets to be uploaded, all of it. Right. That's not Skype.
No, exactly.
We need to get back on the
it's funny. I actually get that question quite frequently when we're doing the demo, and that's always my answer is no. I mean, the video meeting, which is what Skype is, that's just a tool that we're using. The platform is it's the schedule part of it. So.
Yeah, and I mean this would be
I mean, at this point, actually, I'll probably let you guys talk more. Right? It's always good if I play the
yeah, what's the system? I'm assuming somebody designed it.
I mean, Patrick? One thing we don't even show in this demo. One thing we don't even show in this demo. Maybe we should, but there's a whole you go around a trade show with an app, and you say information about companies you're interested in. There's a whole hot list capability. So as you navigate a company's profile, you can save that information to a hot list within the platform. You can also take notes. All of that can actually be backed into Salesforce.com.
That's
It's tied into their CRM system. We don't even have time to show these.
Can you touch on that?
Yeah.
I think that's meaningful.
Yeah. And then again, we can tie this into Google Analytics as well.
Yeah.
Well, I made it sound like, that's like the max or writing like the factory monthly. But and they can see it as 10 minutes. Yeah, Like, is it limited to and then
If I get the opportunity, I might talk briefly about how a Walgreens or a Walmart would use this.
Yes.
The context of their own.
I like that L'Oreal back there. By the way, new, it's L'Oreal, not L'Oreal.
It's French.
L'Oreal. I think Jennifer did great. I didn't realize she apparently worked, I was looking at her LinkedIn profile, she worked for Time Warner Retail. This means she would have worked for, what's his name now? Joe. That's Pavona. That's just Joe Pavona. I can't remember his name. I don't know, how long?
I'll just get until 10:15.
Really? Oh, 10, no, 10, the whole thing, I thought. I think they break out at.
So I'll answer all questions when interrupt going through technology.
Unless, I mean, I won't do anything unless you ask me. Unless you ask me a question or ask me to share a screen or something.
So one thing, which as I said to Patrick, which, can you get up on, go onto the platform, get a hot list and notes? We don't even show this.
I see. Ah, that's what it is.
So go to a company. I'll go to Honeystinger. It's a wild.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah. Hot list. Add it to hot list. Right. Now you go view your hot list. Right. So now I have another one. So then, as I talk about that. So go back to hot list. Now there's both in the hot list, right? So, and then you've also got notes as well. So, so go back to Honeystinger again. Now go to notes. Interesting meeting Jennifer. Follow up. Okay, now go to your admin. Go to your login. Admin. Now go to my account. Now go to my notes.
one guy was asking all the questions about, is it competing with this physical event and stuff? It's a real issue.
What?
I can see it's a real issue for him, but you wouldn't ask the question.
I'm gonna come back at 10. But what I think, Talbot's question, which is how is this different from what you were going to answer?
Yeah.
I would just ask you to start with that. If you can give us your elevator speech on how this is different than WebEx and GoToMeeting, and I don't know what video deals are out there, and then we'll go around.
So Patrick, I just heard Jim say from Ed Market what he likes. Do you know Jim McGarry? From Ed Market? So I just heard him saying what he likes about this is it kind of does away with ECRM. We haven't mentioned ECRM. I don't think we should be afraid to mention ECRM. Because in reality, what we've done is recreate ECRM. I'll touch on that. That's exactly. He said, "I see this as a way. This is a way for me to compete with them, ECRM." Yeah. So whoever, either you or me, who leads off, I'm going to lead off with ECRM.
You lead off on the differentiator. Let me handle the ECRM. Because it's, it's an issue for a lot of folks in here. That's a for-profit model that's sort of impinging on our turf.
He said he'd actually don't mind enough to stay on and let to hear the questions.
As opposed to just being the BP part, there's something as well.
So, how are you doing? So this is the company I was telling you about yesterday. It's a similar platform as to what you guys are trying to do. It's kind of upstart. What they're doing with Unified Industry. They approached me about getting on the show. Well, to the best of my knowledge, it's not like what you all are promoting, which is a partnership where you get up and I get up. These guys want to take my people and do away with my show. And they want to be a member of mine? I'm sorry, I don't understand that philosophy. You're coming to pirate my people. Right. So I told them no. But like their website, I mean, it doesn't really. They don't have anything on here yet, frankly. It's just, but they really like not trade shows. clearly trying to.
Well, again, you know, we
Well, I think it's interesting. I love it. I mean, I got a million questions for you. Like, how do you? And I'm sure you guys have thought about all these things, but it's just there's so many aspects to it that are like so intriguing to me. Like, I really think that I find this discussion is almost hour. The bigger guys are always going to say, "Oh, yes." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's like all over it. Which, yeah, and they're a member of ours. I can totally see this because he has to fly to wherever he's got to drive to Denver. You know, I mean, that's a lot of money. So these guys don't just meet in October every year for the show. They want to meet in January, February, wherever. You know, so. And I've never facilitated that before. So my question is, what's to prevent them from doing it? Okay. Right. No, I know it's not, but I mean, in theory, they could, you know, go on.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I think the seats, please.
Right.
All right, we're going to get restarted. Again, we'll ask each table just to hit your top two very quickly, 1 to 2 minutes per table. Prior to going around the room, I've asked Mark to give us his elevator speech on Helen's question, which is, how is this different than any of the other technology vehicles that are out there?
All right, so important question. I mean, first of all, you know, what Anne and Patrick have demoed, I mean, we are on top of video. We're on top of commodity video. But we're not just on top of Google Hangouts or Skype or anything like that. The platform, the underlying platform which we're using here was developed by Cisco, or basically by the same people who developed WebEx. And what's really important here is that this is interoperable across any platform. From the video point of view. What I mean by that is you've got big companies out there like Procter and in the world that Patrick operates in, Procter, Unilever, Clorox, these kind of companies which had big investments in either legacy video conferencing or in the private jets, Rich, which we were talking about, you know, the Cisco telepresence type technology. They've already made those investments. They're not going to get rid of that stuff. But what we've done today is, you know, is over $100 cameras and hotel Wi-Fi and just your standard broadband. So it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what system you're on or what you know, IP addresses or SIP addresses you're using to communicate. Everything communicates through this. It doesn't matter what device you come in on. I mean, and straight down to, you know, whether you're on a Galaxy or an iPhone, an iPad, or this interops across all those.
Would you say that's the primary differentiator between that and it's really combining the functionality?
Well, and then also the ease of connectivity. So, you know, with things like GoToMeeting and all the other ones out there, WebEx is, you know, it's kind of a crappy one in my opinion. I mean, you get invited to a WebEx meeting and it's, you know, you've got to download this application, et cetera, et cetera. With this, it's basically click and you're on. It's all.
So you don't need to download any particular.
It's so small that it's within a couple of seconds you're done and you're onto the system. But the most important thing is that with a lot of the big companies, some of the Remingtons or people you may be dealing with, they've got legacy systems in there. They don't want to change the way they do video if they've already made
already made these
All right,
investments.
so we're gonna have to go around the room to stay on.
Yeah, one final point on what's different about it. It's a managed service. So the day is a choreographed, curated event that enables all the meetings to occur simultaneously, all the ad hoc follow-up, the hot list to be created that can be downloaded into Salesforce or your CRM. So it has robust functionality that we haven't even dug into that really enables this to be a seamless event that our members don't have to think about. There's nothing required other than say, I'm going to participate and I'm going to sign up. So there's a lot of functionality behind the scenes that enable a well choreographed event.
So let me just one more. So Patrick used the word managed service. We're not licensing this solution to anybody. We're providing this as a managed service, rather like a PCO, a professional conference organizer, who will come in and organize an event for you. If we build a relationship with any of your organizations, we do all the heavy lifting. We guarantee the experience. We work with both sides of the table to make sure the experience is a fantastic experience.
Yeah. All right, we've got to go around the room. Why don't we start over here? I'll ask each table captain to please stand so you can project to the back of the room. So why don't we start with Mike? Oh, we do have a mic. Oh, sorry, didn't realize that. So, so you can sit or stand.
So
I think he has.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're asking questions about the platform.
Your top one or two questions.
Okay, so with the sort of facilitation or the getting everybody kicked off, is there a limit to the number of these meetings simultaneously happening that you guys bump up against?
The limit is actually the number of hours a day. You have 8 hours a day and you have half-hour meetings, so you can have 16 and 16 people, 16 on one side and 16 on the other side.
So is 16 the number?
Per day.
You can do a multi-day
Well,
event.
I guess what I'm saying, so if you guys have, your business explodes into the stratosphere, you have 75,000 customers that want to help, but start having a meeting at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay, so we're built on Amazon Web Services, so we have unlimited scalability. That's why we built it that way.
Okay. And then the second big question is. That question. So could you have two groups of 16? So 16, 32.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
16 on the assumption the meetings you wanted to organize were 20-minute meetings or half-an-hour meetings.
And an 8-hour day.
In an 8-hour.
If you want to go 12 hours, you're getting 24.
So you can do 24 or 48.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, you could have 10-minute meetings. Is that what I mean?
And then is there a limitation? I know there's not a limitation on your technology, but what is the limitation that a user's technology could bring to this?
There's no limit. It's all web-based.
So they got a crappy Wi-Fi connection. We just kind of soldier on.
They might not look as good. They might not look quite as good on their end, but they can still connect.
With the compression technologies on this, 1.5 meg. 1.5 meg is going to get you there, which is pretty low.
All right, next table. Thank you.
Our question involves the matchmaking meeting process and how do you go about setting up suppliers with distributors or party A with party B in a way that allows both of the parties some choice, but also some ability to review.
Yeah, that has not been a big issue to date. What we'll do is we'll work with our retailer and wholesaler members first to get their support for the event and their commitment to participate. And with that, we will tell them we're going to go out and curate a supplier list of category suppliers that would be relevant for the retailer and wholesaler participants. And typically, once we do that, there has been very little, if any, pushback on, well, I don't want to meet with X. That has not been a big issue for us. A lot of them look at it as a means to either, okay, it's a company I haven't heard of. Well, maybe I'll learn something in that 20 minutes, or maybe they're going to surprise me on the upside with a product that's going to change my sales plan for the year.
Okay, so in our admin, we've created an algorithm. So we have the ability to put in blackout days and exceptions. So we can put in both sides, and then depending on what exceptions and blackouts you put in, it will generate a list. So the actual process of actually creating the match meetings is very quickly, and I would say that is work in progress. And it's something which we're committed to improving and improving and improving. But we've, if we had 4 or 5 companies all doing something, we could work up those lists within a half an hour or so, and they're going to make pretty much, put those lists in front of the right person, and they'll be curated, and it would work out pretty good.
All right, very good. Next one, you have a follow-up, you have a second question?
Oh, yeah, if you want me to. We were very interested in the security side of it. And how to,
Okay, so security, I had that on my list. So I've just spent 4 or 5 months working with Bank of America and Citibank. We don't have any contracts signed right now. Their main concern was security. We passed all checks and balances on security. We don't need with GMDC events to encrypt the meetings, but if the meetings were so sensitive, we can go to certain levels of encryption on both the platform and on the video side. So I'd say that if we passed muster with B of A and Citibank, I think we're good to go.
As far as recording, is that an option that you can
Yes.
opt in and opt out of? Can be associated.
Opt in, opt out, and both sides of the table the same thing. And
The association can set a policy that
There'll be no recording.
Yes.
Yes. Sure.
Okay, very good. Why don't we go to the back table?
That table, we were questioning whether this lends itself primarily to commodity businesses as opposed to distributors with value-added services, engineered products.
You want to take that?
Well, I think it works. I think it works across all industries and all services. So I mean, I can see it right now, for example, in Patrick's world, with retail, for example, with retail technology and services and hardware, software solutions. I actually think this lends itself extremely well in terms of how a software company, for example, or a company like Lexmark who's selling digital signage might want to sell to big retailers. I think it would work extremely well.
I would also argue that if you've got a complex business or a product range, or maybe there's a significant player that's going through a review or an RFP, it's a very rational way to either to cull your list or to qualify or pre-qualify the number of folks you're going to bring in. You could have, we're talking here about merchants and manufacturers coming together for an event. It could just as easily be, and I've actually had this discussion with one of the leading drug retailers in the country based in Chicago, and that's all I'm going to say about that. You can figure out who I'm talking about, but how they would use the platform as a means for a trade show follow-up where they go to a show and they would go see multiple companies and say, listen, we're going to invite you back in for a virtual event on this day because we want to go deeper with you than we can at your booth, or than we can, when everybody's following Walgreens around saying, hey, can we take 5 minutes of your time? So we can see our retailers using the platform for their own event. And the same thing with global manufacturers who might say, hey, we're going to do a brand launch or a repositioning of a brand or an extension, and they want to use the platform for a day. So there's multiple ways to think about it. It's not just strictly commodity. Our members on both sides can use this as a means to reach their constituents, their customers.
And another thing is, another problem we've solved, which I think partly to answer your question over here as well, is we've solved the problem of high definition video over video conferencing. We've solved that problem 100%. So if you think you go to a trade show nowadays, how many exhibits are actually with video? And you're basically looking at a screen with video. With this platform now, the supplier or the vendor who's showcasing to a buyer can show his HD video very, very easily over the platform with perfect quality sound. That's a huge breakthrough.
That's a great idea. Andy, are you next?
Yeah. So somebody talked about the technology, so I'm going to run you to another question. So 2 things. First, how do you guarantee meetings for folks so that they know they're spending $3,700? I'm going to get meetings. How do you do that? And then how is the word spread about this initially? Is that handled by the association?
Yeah.
Do you guys take care of all of that marketing? How does that work?
Sure, great questions. First, what we'll do is, as I said, we're going to work to bring together merchants and manufacturers. We're going to start with the merchants. Okay, we want to get commitments around the category merchants, for baby, for natural and organic, whoever it might be. First, we're going to start with them and line them up so they got the day reserved. Then we're going to go out, my member services team is going to go out and speak to our existing members or prospects and articulate the event. Hey, we're doing this on this day. Here's who signed up. If these wholesalers and retailers of interest, you should participate. And now, if for some reason if we find that the market, our members are saying there's no interest, then we reserve the right to say, you know what, we're going to push out the date, or we're just not going to play in that space. Okay, so what we're not going to do is hold an event where there's 2 merchants and you get, you spend $3,750 for 2 meetings. I can understand why somebody would push back. That has not been a real issue for us. If it was, though, we would reserve the right to push out or cancel. Now, in terms of how we go out and sell this, again, it's my member services team that's doing that, because they have relationships with our members and also are actively prospecting at shows. And we're putting out through social media. We're putting it out on our website. We're pushing it out in email blast to our members.
Very good. Anything else? You back? No? We're probably going to get into our break a little bit, but I think this is going well enough where that's a good audible to call about.
Follow up to that point, one of our concern was cannibalization.
Sure.
So is the event promoted pre, post, or during the main event?
Sure, great question. We just came off our GM conference, which is our largest conference of the year. And that's our speed, we do speed dating for 4 days. And we scheduled all of our supplier attendees to meet with Ann and Mark at a table to understand how the technology works. And then we also scheduled them speed dating to meet with all the retailers and wholesalers at our event. We actively marketed this to both sides of our members. Okay, but again, the idea is complementary. So yes, we have a broad general merchandise category that can incorporate batteries and greeting cards and food storage. You go right down the line at our event. This gets beyond that event into granular specifics. And the one, we realized we could disrupt ourselves, but there's one target out there that's trying to disrupt me and a lot of others, and it's called ECRM. It's a for-profit enterprise. They're playing in a lot of areas, and they've taken a lot of our members' show dollars from us and from probably other people in the room, and I intend to get some of it back, okay? They're for-profit. They're not adding value. They're just taking money and lots of it, and I intend to bring some of it back into the industry.
Very good. You have any other follow-up?
Do you want to share the hybrid
So I'm a member. What incentives do you provide to distributors to get them on this platform?
Discovery, save time, save money. Do it all in one day. Because, Ralph, if you go out to an ECRM event, it's 4 days. And you're doing 30-minute meetings out of the office. What I said earlier, the biggest challenges are time and money on both sides. I can find both with this platform.
Is everybody familiar with ECRM? Just Google that. It's speed dating on steroids. Very, very close to this, but very, very established company, very successful category after category after category.
And very expensive for the supplier.
The other company you might want to look up if you don't know ECRM is a company out of London called IQPC. So IQPC is another 800-pound gorilla in the speed dating business. Nothing to do with retail, but they're in heavy industry, they're in pharmaceutical, they're in finance, many other industries. So
next question.
Yeah, so we have a question. The product as it stands and what we saw was sort of single focused. But we started brainstorming other ways this could be used, like for educational events, onboarding members.
Yeah.
Any discussion about that?
yes. So we've already got a model. We've got an educational model, which we can share with you. We've also got a very, very good one for share groups, as an example. So we don't have time right now, but they're completely fleshed out and ready to go, and a huge application for this.
We're also impressed with the fact you're on hotel Wi-Fi, and it works pretty well.
Yeah.
I think other people maybe ask this, but have you run into situations where somebody's in a cave somewhere, or
In a cave.
have you had any bandwidth issues?
Well, they're always going to, if you drop below, a certain level, there's obviously, there are going to be issues. But I think 1.5 meg, which most people have, you're going to be fine. The hotel told me this morning, up in the room, I was on 2 meg up and down Wi-Fi in the hotel room. So most people have got.
Yeah, generally speaking, you're not going to have issues.
And it works.
DirecTV had issues this morning because they kept cutting in and out.
But let me get that one. We did a meeting for Patrick, actually your predecessor, we did it at Time Warner Building in New York, and they had a complete their broadband went down completely, and we ran the whole meeting off off a dongle.
On my phone.
We want to make sure every table gets an opportunity to ask a question. So why don't we go to the next table, then we'll open it up, and we'll close out the session. So the IGBC is the agency for nuclear committee. So that's good.
IQPC.
I guess we were questioning, so what is there a revenue share with the association? Because the association,
Yes, and our partnership involves a revenue share for both of us.
So basically, you buy it at $3.75 an hour and up charges of weight, so it works. Right?
I mean, I won't get into the specifics of our business arrangement, but yes, we have the opportunity to monetize an event, as do our partners. So it's from the standpoint of how we allocate the revenue, we've agreed upon that contractually.
So the concept is, if you decide to do this, we have no burden to the association. Our background is event management, all right? So we come from 30 years of best of breed event management all over the world. So we think we know how to organize events. It's a 5-year relationship now with GMDC. And again, confirm that.
Let's a little bit more time for discussion during the break. There's 2 more questions here, Kenyon and Talbot, but I'll just ask you the technology questions. Let's make sure that new questions that haven't already been asked. So Kenyon and Talbot.
So I work out an agreement with you. I'm in the guns, ammo, optics industry. Another association comes to you and says, hey, we saw what they're doing, love it, we want to do it too. How do I protect myself from that piracy?
We would have to sign a non-compete.
Yeah, that sounds like a negotiation item.
So you're not going to allow another company, another association in my sphere?
It's a negotiation point.
I think it's you're not going to allow.
All right, I think that's something you guys can take offline. One last question.
What prices are you able to pay for proprietary? A company wants to hire the service for their own whatever purpose.
Okay, so we're going through that right now with Walmart. I mean, that's the one we're actually going through that whole exercise with. I don't have that number for you, but it's going to be whatever that number needs to be. I just don't have that number, but we're going through that right now.
I would argue that that's a diligence, process where you want to understand what their needs are and how rich or robust the platform has to be. And it could be whether it's a Walmart or a global CPG company. Okay, you want to hijack the platform for a day. Let's talk about what you're trying to do, and we'll figure out a custom proposal to make it happen.
And levels.
Let me ask one final question to wrap up. Is this thing live? Is this going?
Yes.
You've had successful events. How many meetings have you had per event? What's your experience?
We're typically ranging right now from 8 to 14 has been the range to date.
8 to 14 what?
On each side. So 8 on a given 8 to 8 up to 14 to 14. Okay, has been the range to date across multiple events. We're now, I think, going into our 5th event. Does that sound right? 6?
6.
And consistent feedback is, wow, it was easy and it was incredibly efficient. And we will participate again. We hear it from both sides.
Very good. Well, we will end with that. I think we'll be around to answer questions.
Absolutely.
More detailed questions during the break and throughout the rest of the afternoon and day. We're going to go ahead and take our break, but we're going to stay on schedule and return at 10:45. I will make a quick announcement. Dinner tonight is again indoors on this level, South Terrace, 5th floor, South Terrace, 6:30. And with that, we're on break, and we'll return at 10:45.
Okay, Matt, we're gonna shut down. All right. Can you hear us? Oh, you're on mute.
Fine. All right, Tom Dunning here.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll see you.
So I'm Rich.
I guess on. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks
Sounds
for
good.
everything. Good job.
Thank you. We'll talk to you all later.
First started.